Hey guys, so I'm going to post my first tutorial video, and it's going to be about blocking out or concealing your eyebrows. Just going to show you how I do it and how I have learned what works for me. There's different ways that people do it, and they all work differently for everyone else, but I found the best way that works for me. So first I'll show you the things that I use to conceal my eyebrows. The thing I have to use because I have really oily skin, and half the time the glue ends up coming up because the oils in my hair and skin break down the glue and it starts to pop up halfway through the night. So one thing I like to use is this rubbing alcohol. So the first step for me is I just use my fingers because they're the best tool there. Get some on there and just literally rub it into your brows. So once you've rubbed alcohol on eyebrows and they're nice and dry, you'll need some kind of brush. I use like a fan brush to brush away the dust or powder. I use a Real Techniques brush for my putting on the foundation and concealer, and then I use another brush for foundation, which is just my foundation brush. I use two different kinds of glue sticks. They're both Elmer's, but one is Extreme, and that's like what I use for my first coat. And then after that I use just that purple glue that everyone talks about. I use just a like Conair rat tooth comb. I make sure that it has a strong back on it if you do get any type of rat tail. My foundation I use Kryolan. So, and it's in color 9W. You'll need Clown White. I don't know if you can see that. Clown White. And then for my concealer, I use this MAC Studio Finish Concealer in NW15. So there's that. I also use this Cuddy powder for concealing. And then I use this powder puff, and then like this little sponge thing I've had for a while. The handle's even broken off, so I still use it though because I like the sponge part of it because it really pushes the powder into your brow. And then the highlight powder I use is Ben Nye Luxury Powder. It's a banana kind of powder, but I add banana powder into it, so I kind of make my own. So, alright, so let's get started. First, I like to get the glue. I'm using the Extreme stick first, and I would like to get the glue in the brow really good. And when I say really good, I mean like you want to put a lot. As you can see, it's turning my brow white. I like to get a lot in there to make sure that this first coat's really going to work. Then I like to take the comb and comb it through. And you'll pick up some excess on the comb. That's okay. Keep it. Don't like get rid of it or anything, because I just reapply it back on the brow. Then, after you've combed it all the way back through, kind of comb upward. Now don't worry about making a mess on your forehead. Try to keep most of the mess on the forehead, not underneath, because that's harder to clean up after you're done. You know, once you get it all combed up, you want to press pretty hard on it, combing it up. And then you'll use the back of the comb, the flatter side, and you'll want to push up and flatten out all the lines you made with the comb to get rid of kind of most of that texture that you have. And like I said, don't worry about the edges on your skin so much as you want to focus on the actual eyebrow itself. And sometimes you get like the clumpies on there. Just use your towel and wipe it off. So you got a clean edge. Push, push, push. Alright. So now that I got that first layer on, I don't know if you can see how that's laying down there. Now above it I have like all the crusties and everything. Like I said, don't worry about that because you can just clean it up after. Speed up the process. I'm just going to blow dry it real quick. Alright, first layer is done. Now, after I use that extreme layer and it's dry, I use the purple or whatever you want to call it, disappearing purple, and then I just go back over the brow. But when I go back over the brow, don't go like, I guess, horizontally. You want to go vertically with the hairs, because sometimes you'll pull some of the hairs and then it'll mess up like the job that you've done laying all the hairs down flat, so that there is not the least amount of texture in the brow. So I just go back, and you want to put a good amount on your brow so that you can actually see the color purple starting to form on your eyebrow. Now the most amount of texture you're going to get from your eyebrow are going to be on both ends. In the middle, there's going to be probably the least amount of texture, just because the hair is more coarse, so it fills itself in when you put everything on. So just keep that in mind when you're placing the glue. The more glue you want to put on the edges than in the center. So once you get your first layer, I know a lot of videos like to do like the glue, dry powder, and then keep doing that, but I don't like that, just because I feel like it gives more of a cakey appearance to the brow and kind of makes it more prominent than kind of blocking it out. So I skip the powdering and I literally just glue and dry. So I forgot to mention, when you're blow drying, if you blow dry, use the cool air, not the hot air. It will probably just heat the glue up and not really dry it. So I just use the cool air. If you don't have a hair dryer, that's fine. You can use just like a fan or just like a piece of paper, or you can just walk around the house. Sometimes if I don't feel like using the hair dryer, I will glue my brows, and in between glue my brows, I'll shave my face or something like that. So, alright, so now that I've got all the layers of glue that I'm going to put on my brow, it's going to look somewhat like this, kind of messy and whatnot. Yeah, it's kind of gross and stuff. But like I said, you'll clean up the edges after you're done gluing, so that you don't have like that nasty mess around it when you are putting concealer and all that on, which is our next step. So before that, we're going to get our rubbing alcohol again, and we will put some, I just put it on the towel, or if you have like a cloth, or you can use cotton swabs. I just don't like using cotton because then it gets stuck in the glue and whatnot. So just go through and rub and clean up around the brow. Try not to get too close to the brow, otherwise you'll pull the hairs up, and then you'll be doing the opposite of what you want to do. I'm going to blow dry it real quick to dry it. Okay, so what I like to do is get some of the cotton powder, and that's this stuff right here. That's that stuff, and I just like to use the powder puff and just dab it on and press it very firmly into your brow. And that's when this thing comes in handy, because then I like to dip that in the powder, and I just like to use this to push it even more into the brow to get rid of all the tackiness of the glue. Make sure that's there. Now, I don't use any red concealer or anything like that, because I don't think you really need it, to be honest, with your brows, because of the fact that you're going to be putting so much eye makeup on that any coloring from the eyebrow that shows through is going to be covered up by either black or whatever your lid color is or anything like that. So, and I've never had a problem with my lid color, or my brow color showing through, so I don't use it. So now that we've got that powdered, like so, we are going to take I've used my MAC concealer. Now you don't have to use MAC. You can use anything you'd like to as a concealer. You can use if you use like a cream highlight before you put on all your makeup, you can use that. You can just use a lighter foundation, or you can just use your regular foundation. You can even skip this step if you like to. I just like to, for more coverage. And I use my finger and literally and don't wipe, just dab it on to the brow, and you'll see that it slowly conceals the brow. Now you can still see there's some blue or black tint to the brow, and that's okay. Don't try to get that all with just the concealer, because that's what the next step is going to be. You'll kind of see everything starting to come together. I'll show you that. Now after I've got the concealer on there, clean my finger, I take the Clown White, and that's where I get most of the coverage. That's why I don't have to use the red, because I use this pretty thickly, I guess if that's a word. So, use the Clown White. I use a big blob like so, and I literally dab that all onto my brow and swipe upward just like you would with the glue. And this will end up blending in with your foundation, so just continue to swipe up, but you want to make sure you get enough of it to cover the brow. That's what that looks like. Now that I've done that with the Clown White, then I look like a crazy person. Then I take this foundation brush and blend everything out. Now I've still got like the concealer color in this brush, so it's going to change the white color to a different color, but that's okay. And then what I do at this point is I powder one last time, just to set this white and everything so that nothing moves. And then dust it all off. The final step in this whole process is to take my crayon and place it right on top of your brow and where it sits, and give it that coverage. Smooth it over, and then I take my Real Techniques brush and I blend it out. And then I like to do my highlight with my highlight color to kind of set everything in after I've blended everything out really good. I like to do just with this, well, with a fan brush, or you can use any other brush you want. I like to dip it in there and kind of just dab it lightly. And this is of course after I have my like whole face and everything on. Like I use the cream contour, so I put my whole face on, and then I'll set it with this powder, and I'll use my highlighting powder in the highlighting areas, and then like I use another powder for my contour areas. But yep, I just brush that on there. Then this is the final result. The edges are a little messy because I didn't really clean them up like I normally do, but you go about doing your eye makeup and all that other stuff. So I hope this helps, and let me know in the comments below what you think. and let me know if you want to see more tutorials from me, and like the video, thumbs up. Thanks for watching.